Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. And today I have a bit of a random haul for you guys. It is a book haul, but there's a magazine in here. Plus I have some Funko Pops that I figured why not include them in this one. So a mixed bag of a haul today, but about 24 items to get through. So let's not waste any time at all. Let's dive right into this book and Funko Pop haul. So I'll start off with the Funko Pops. I have 4 of them today. 3 are horror movie related, so I'll start with those. And this first one here I grabbed from Hot Topic as part of a buy one get one 30% off. And so this is the Tall Man from Phantasm. So this is a really cool figure. I was someone who watched the original film, didn't like it the first time I saw it, but then on a repeat viewing, I really fell for it and realized, man, I was wrong. This is a really good movie. So very happy to have this one in the collection here. A very cool one for my horror Funko collection. This is the Tall Man. And then the other one I grabbed along with that one to do the buy one get one is this one here, the Megan figure. This thing is so super cool. And this is part of the Fusion line. I think it's with the new video game that came out, which frankly I have zero interest in. But you can see all the different figures there. I would love to get McCready, but I could not find him. I actually picked these up while my wife and I were off on our little, very small anniversary overnight. And we ended up going shopping a little bit. And so it was at the Hot Topic, and these I couldn't pass up. So this is an awesome figure. I really enjoyed this movie. Cannot wait for the sequel. So yeah, out of these other ones here, I would really love to get McCready. So hopefully I can find that one at some point down the line. But right now I have Megan in the collection. And then finally, in terms of horror pops, I grabbed Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. So another one of these Funko Fusions. So you can see the same items on the back of the box there. But Shaun of the Dead is just a fantastic zombie movie, one of the greatest ever. And so when I saw this one, I couldn't pass it up. This one was actually one I found at Box Lunch in that same mall. So yeah, very happy to have this. The only Shaun of the Dead figure at all I have in my collection. So definitely knew I had to grab this one. Such a cool one. This is Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. And then the last pop I grabbed was actually on clearance at Target. It was on a double or a triple clearance. This is Rikishi. So you can see right on the tag there, this is a Target exclusive. I ended up spending $5 on this. Actually a little bit less than, it was $4 and change. So that's why I didn't pass this one up. Obviously I'm a big Rikishi fan from back in the day. So another one for my wrestling figures. Now I basically only have wrestling Funko Pops and horror movie Funko Pops. That's pretty much all I collect anymore, but this one had to come into the collection. So the last Funko Pop today is Rikishi. And then I'll use Rikishi to transition over to some of the reading material I grabbed. This first one here I actually picked up last month when it was brand new, but I forgot to share it in my last book haul. But this is The Art of N64 Wrestling Games. And you can see this is written by Sean Long, who is known as RGT85 here on YouTube. If you are a YouTuber who watches a lot of video game related content, you probably are aware of Sean, part of that whole Spawn Wave cast thing that they got going on. But yeah, I really like watching his content. And a book on pro wrestling video games on the N64. I mean, this was absolutely must-have for me. So very excited to add this one to the collection. And this thing looks awesome. It's full color and it's just beautiful. So this is one that I wish it would have been in a little bit better shape from Amazon. You can see it isn't perfect. Well, you probably can't see that, but it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So I didn't do a return on this at all. But yeah, this is just super cool. So was excited to be able to support a YouTuber I really like here. And it was a book that I'm super interested in. So The Art of N64 Wrestling Games by RGT85. This next one isn't a book, but it's still reading material, so I'm including it here. This is Horror Hound number 102, excuse me. And this, of course, has the Army of Darkness retrospective. So I showed that I grabbed number 104, which had Evil Dead 2. This one is just next in line, so they did Army of Darkness. I would love to get 101 because that has the original Evil Dead, but I will stick with this for now. But yeah, really cool. I like this magazine. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. So yeah, I don't grab a ton of these because like I mentioned before, they're like $10 a pop, but I wanted to grab this one since I had Evil Dead 2 in the collection already. This is Horror Hound number 102. All right, let's get to the traditional books now. So Most of this stack, except for I think like the last two in here, my wife and I ended up going on that little anniversary trip I was talking about. There's a little bookstore out there that we both wanted to stop in. And so, well, when we went in, they were doing a fill a bag for like $4 or something really cheap. You fill up a paper bag and it was very cheap, whatever it was. So I was just putting kind of random things in. I don't know how many of these will actually end up in the collection. Some I might just end up donating, but it was the same price either way. So I grabbed anything that looked halfway interesting. This first one here is one of those that I don't know if I'm going to keep, but I figured why not grab it. This is called Dead End by Guy N. Smith. So this is a horror novel, and the reason I wanted to pick it up is because, as you can see on the side there, it's actually a zebra horror book. So I don't know if this one's worth anything or not, and frankly, I don't even know when this is from, but because I saw that zebra tag on there, I wanted to grab it. This is from 1996, so I don't know if this one's available in any other format whatsoever, but it was zebra, so I grabbed it. This is Dead End by Guy Smith. Okay, so this next set of books here is actually really cool, at least in my opinion. So I was at that bookstore that I was talking about, and I came across this book here called Starfighters, written by Robert E. Mills. You look at the book and you think, well, that's an obvious Star Wars knockoff. And so I turned it over, and on the back there you can see The Dark Empire Strikes Back. I mean, give me a break. This is amazing. I was reading what it's about, and it's exactly what you would expect. This looks like it is a novel form of a Star Wars knockoff. Because of that, I had to have this. So this one is one that you can't use trade credit on, and it's a little bit more expensive. So it was $12 because it's a classic book or whatever. But I wanted to grab this. And so then, of course, I was looking it up, and I believe this is the second book in that series. Well, turns out they also had Star Force, which is the third book in the series. This is the dazzling climax to the Star Quest series, also written by Robert E. Mills. And again, going for that knockoff feel there. This one was only $3, so I definitely grabbed this one. Actually, I got this one for free thanks to a coupon I had. But this one's from 1978, so I'm guessing they're all around that same era, which makes sense. But the first book in the franchise, the third book I needed, they didn't have. So because of that, I did have to go to eBay. The cheapest one that I found that looked to be in decent condition actually came with a second copy of Star Force. Unfortunately, this one is in worse condition. You can kind of see there's a tape along the edge there, probably an ex-library book or something, but not in as good a shape, so I will be getting rid of this one. But the reason I grabbed that lot was for the original Star Quest. This is super cool. So you can see here, what year is this one? I'm probably going to be around the same time. 1978 also, so he must have just done all three books at the same time. But the epic battle to save a universe gone mad. When I turn this over, tell me if anything looks familiar. I mean, look at that. Galaxies at War, and then it has like the scroll that we get from the beginning of the Star Wars films. This is awesome. One of the coolest things I never knew existed that I just had to have the second I saw it. So I grabbed this one for probably less than I spent on book number 2. For whatever reason, book number 2 was just more expensive. But yes, I cannot wait to check this out. These all look like they are readable copies, which is what I want to do with this. So Star Quest, Starfighters, and Star Force, the Star Wars knockoff trilogy by Robert E. Mills. If you guys have ever heard of this, let me know. I'd love to hear some thoughts on this series, but very excited to have found all three of these. So I have some Stephen King here next, and again, these are ones I'll probably end up keeping just because they're Stephen King and they're ones I didn't have in the collection already. So first up here, we have Everything's Eventual, and this is the one with 1408 in it, which is a horror movie that I talked about not too long ago here on the channel. I love it. It's a great film. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like this one is a mixture of novellas. Not in the best shape. There is some water damage to it, but it's readable, which is what's important. Let me see if I can figure this out here. Oh, okay, so no, this one looks like it is short stories as well. But yeah, 1408 is supposed to be the standout from this. Cannot wait to read that because I love the movie. So Everything's Eventual by Stephen King. This next one is the one with like 3 or 4 different novellas. This is Different Seasons. And I want to say there are 4 novellas in here, one for each part of the year. Yeah, Hope Springs Eternal, Summer of Corruption, which is Apt Pupil. and then the body and the breathing method, I think that one said down there. Yeah. So, oh, that's right. The first one is Shawshank Redemption. So obviously, most of these were made into films, and so that's why I was happy to find this one. Another one that I just didn't have in the collection, not in the best shape, so if I find it in better shape down the line, I'll do that, but I mean, I'm paying pennies for it at this point because my wife was able to fill up her bag also with just a whole bunch of stuff, so I was able to sneak these in as well. So very happy to find Different Seasons by Stephen King. One of these from Stephen King that was not a part of that sale for obvious reasons was actually behind the counter, and it was an impulse buy at checkout, but this thing looked awesome for only $9. This is Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King, and you can see here, this is the one that was made into Silver Bullet, which is a very well done Stephen King adaptation, I would say, or a good movie. I've never read the book, so I don't know how it is as an adaptation, but it's a good movie. But what's really cool about this, like, look at the inside there. This is gorgeous. There's full pictures throughout this. It is not a graphic novel, but there's a whole bunch of pictures in here, and it just looks fantastic. So this was a must grab for me once I saw it up there. I don't know that this is a first printing or anything like that. Let me see if it says on the inside here. It's from 1983. Cannot tell. It says first Signet. This is the first Signet printing from April of 1985. So it's not a first release, but I don't care about any of that really. I just thought it was super cool looking. So yeah, very happy to have the Cycle of the Werewolf in the collection now. All right, let's jump over to some media tie-in, and I've kind of stopped grabbing middle grade or junior novelizations just because I ended up purging a bunch from my collection not too long ago. But in a situation like this where it's super cheap, literally pennies, I might as well grab it. And ones like this are really cool. This is TMNT, the junior novelization to the animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. And you can see on the inside here, there are some pictures, which is always really cool. Not the biggest fan of this art style for this film, but I've actually not even seen this movie yet, so I need to correct that because that's the only of the TMNT films that I haven't seen. But either way, very cool find here, the TMNT junior novel. And then I couldn't pass this one up because it's Godzilla, the junior novelization. I love when they do random junior novelizations like this. Like, this is not a kid's movie by any stretch, but who cares? Let's make a junior novelization out of it anyway. I know Batman Begins also has a junior novelization as well, which another one, like, that's not a kid's movie at all. So I just love dumb things like this one. So had to grab the Godzilla junior novel. This one is more media tie-in because it's Star Wars related, but this is Star Wars The Clone Wars Secret Missions #1. Now, I don't know if it's these, but there are some of these Clone War books that are actually worth a little bit of money, and I don't think it's this series, but I know I had a couple of them at one point, and this is just a standard junior novelization, or a junior novel, rather, middle grade novel. That's the term I'm searching for, but yeah, very cool to have this one in the collection now. Just adds to my always growing Star Wars books. Star Wars The Clone Wars Secret Missions #1. Moving back over to the adult side here, this is Star Wars related also, and it's a book series that I've been trying to collect. I have the first two in kind of their original forms, but they're not very readable because they're quite old. So I was very happy to find the Han Solo Adventures with written by Brian Daley in this form. So it has all three of the trilogy, and it's a very readable version of it. So this is the way I will go about these. Unless they're available on audiobook, but I don't believe they are. But I've heard really great things about the Brian Daley Star Wars trilogy here with Han Solo. So extremely excited to find this one and happy to add it to the collection. This is Star Wars, the Han Solo Adventure Trilogy. Here's another one that falls into the media tie-in category. We have Predator, Forever Midnight, and this one is written by John Shirley. So I have a whole bunch of Predator and Alien books, and so this one just adds to that collection. I'll just always find, whenever I find them cheap, I'll always grab them. This was marked at $7, so I spent about $3 for this one after my trade-in credit and everything else on there. So really great price on this, can't pass that up. This is Predator, Forever Midnight. Last but not least, on the novelization side, another one here that was very cheap. Actually, I found this one at a whole different store. This was at like a baby buyback store. Like, it's weird to explain, I guess, but it's like a thrift store, but it's all kids' clothing. For some reason, this was mixed into all of their books, which were mostly aimed at children, but this is the novelization to the movie SWAT. Super random. Have no idea why this was there, but it's actually on the back there. It says children, books, children. Clearly this is not a child's book, but whatever. It's in the collection. Didn't have it, so I was very happy to find it. This is written by George Huang. This is the novelization to SWAT. The last two today are both film related, but they are not novelizations. And I actually found both of these yesterday at Second and Charles for really good prices. So first up here, we have a book by John LeMay. This is called Jaws Unmade. So you can see the tagline there, the lost sequels, prequels, remakes, and ripoffs of Jaws. Like, this is awesome. What a cool find. I spent less than $5 on this book. So this was a really cool find. I don't know that there's a lot of pictures in this, but they talk about orca in here. Look at that. I always mess up how to say that one. Tintorera? Whatever. Another Jaws knockoff. So, I mean, this is just really cool. Like, I never would have expected to see something like this at Second and Charles. So, very happy to have Jaws Unmade in the collection. Can't wait to check this one out. And last but not least is a book that I've had on my radar for a few years now. When it was brand new, my mom actually bought this as a Christmas gift for my now brother-in-law, and I've always wanted it since, but have not found it for a good price. Well, for $12, which is about half of what it goes for on Amazon right now, brand new, I found the Nolan Variations, written by Tom Schoen. So this is a book that covers Christopher Nolan's filmography, and I've heard just amazing things about it. You can see there are some pictures in here, not a whole, I guess a little bit less than I was expecting, but just a really good breakdown of all of his works. And so I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, so that's why I wanted to grab this one. And yeah, very happy to get through this one. My brother-in-law has read this by now, and he really enjoyed it. So very happy to find this one. This is like an oversized hardcover, almost a coffee table size. Very cool find for 12 bucks. This is The Nolan Variations by Tom Schoen, and that's going to be the last in today's kind of a random book and Funko haul. All right, so this is not everything, but it's what I could grab easily. So that is a big old stack of books, and then of course some new Funkos for the collection, which I know just aren't very popular anymore. So let me know down in the comments, are you still collecting any Funko Pops? For me, like I said, it's basically horror movies and or wrestling Funkos, and that's pretty much it. But I would love to hear what you guys are doing with Funkos down in the comments below. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Have you heard of that Star Wars knockoff trilogy? I'm super intrigued about that one, but that is going to do it for today, guys. So thank you so much for checking out this video. If you made it all the way to the end, you are awesome. Thank you so much for spending that time with me. I really do appreciate that. Before you guys go, I will just encourage you all to consume some media today. Thanks again for checking out this video, and I will catch you all next time.